that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave. Please remain standing. I would like you to sing along, please. We're here for you. Thank you, ROTC. Good afternoon again. Thank everyone for coming. The work for the Black History Month program this year, our theme is speaking truth and honoring African Americans in journalism. But that is not the national theme. The national theme is about voting, and that's very important to us this year. I think it's important to us more than anything else in any other election because our democracy is at stake. So I ask all of you to make it a point to please go out and vote. Our high school students that are here today, your vote means more to us this year than ever. If you are not aware, if you are 17 years old now, and you will be 18 by November 5th, please make sure that you register to vote because you are eligible to do so. Take your neighbors, take your parents, above all, moms, dads, grandparents, aunts, uncles, take the children, take those teens that are ready to vote and talk to them about the importance because your vote does matter. This year is also a numbers game for us. We have the census as well, and we need everyone in Neptune Township, the state of New Jersey, and throughout the United States to please, please be counted. If you're an immigrant, even if you are undocumented, do not be afraid. We need you to get counted. For those of you that don't know, those numbers are extremely important to us because it determines how much money from the federal government and from the state comes into your town. That affects your schools, it affects your taxes, and it affects everything that makes your city go. So it is important that you get counted. It will start soon with a mail-in. You can also go as far as registering online or being counted online, or you can do it even on your phone. But it is extremely important to get counted. I beg you, those of you that are immigrants or new to this country, you count, you matter. So it is very important that you get counted. I also want to talk to you just a little bit about the Armistead Act. And the Armistead Act is an act from the state of New Jersey that was, I'm not even sure how many years ago, but I'd like for you to pay attention to it in the booklet that we have. It talks about the African American culture and how it should be taught in the schools every day through every subject and throughout the year. It is expanding now to the LGBTQ community and other ethnic groups where we are forgotten in our history books, but it is very important that we are represented not only in programs like today, but also in the books, in the magazines, in the commercials, and all of those things. I also want to bring attention to my committee, and I love you guys are the best. They are totally the best. And I want you to look up at the screen, and it shows most of us, not all of us. All right, it took a little bit to get them all together, but they're there. And I would just like to recognize them at this time. Our township committee person, Kevin McMillan, was our liaison. I, Diana Harris, am the chairperson. My co-chair is Karen Jefferson. And we also have Pastor Lawrence Akins, Brenda Cook Johnson, Bridget James, Lydia Johnson, Taretha Jones, Monette Kerr, Maureen Schaefer, Mary Scott, Wanda Smith, and Ronald Tyson. Thank you, guys. And now, I'm kind of lost on my other piece that I need to recognize, and I want to bring special attention to our superintendent of schools, Dr. Pammy Crater. She's here. Please stand up. I can't see her, but she is here. And as I told Dr. Crater, I said this is the first year in the many years that I've been involved that we have all of the schools involved, either by way of their participation or by way of their arts, or however they came to the table with us. We want to say thank you, babies. You guys are the best. I also want to bring attention to Board of Ed people that are here. I don't know if they're all present at this time, but we have Laura Bernelli. I don't know if she's still here. You can stand. Dodi Fernandez, who's President Fernandez of our Board of Education. We also have Fabian Howell, who is a new elected member of the Board of Education, and also Ms. Shanta Jackson, who is also newly elected to the board. This has been a partnership for many years. I also want to bring to your attention Nick Williams, who is our township committee person. Nick, if you would stand up. We also have Kevin McMillan, who is also a committee person who is on the township committee, and our newly appointed or positioned mayor, Robert Lane, if you stand up as well. I think Eric finally made it good. All right. And we have our legislature, our assemblyman, Eric Otellian, who is also in the House. So he is there anything that I missed? I do apologize if I missed you, but we got to move along. We do want to come up to our next person that's in our program. Let me go here. Let's see what I got. Next, I want to present to you a group, or a young lady who's here from the New Jersey Orators. And those of you that don't know about the New Jersey Orators, they are a group of excellence that train their students. Yeah, they deserve a round of applause. They really do. It's a great group that's been around for a long time. But this young lady that's coming up here today, I'm going to have her say her name so I don't screw it up. Okay, but she's coming to you right now to talk to you about voting. So let's welcome her.
Good afternoon. My name is Ornella DeRosa, and I am a proud member of the Neptune chapter of the New Jersey Orators. And today I'll be presenting to you a poem written by Christelle Valentine entitled A Voter's Problem. Maybe we're just waiting for the locusts to come. Maybe we're waiting for the whole world to set fire, for God to finally cleanse this melting pot, for a purer human race to rise out of the ashes. Because obviously, the stakes aren't high enough. Because obviously, college debt isn't high enough. High school dropout rates aren't high enough. Increased Metro card fares aren't high enough. Obviously, Obama's signature on a $9 billion food stamp cut just isn't high enough. America's attempt to exile an entire continent isn't enough. People being beheaded on national television just isn't enough. Maybe we're waiting for something ridiculous to happen, like Miley Cyrus becoming our first female president, like racism being diagnosed as a mental illness, like police siren becoming our new national anthem. Obviously, we're waiting for something deadlier than rape culture and police brutality to split this world in half, because politics aren't Armageddon enough for us, aren't spark enough for us, aren't a call to action enough for us. This is a call to action, to rally, to revolution. And I know it's hard living in a society where we attend more funerals than birthday parties. And I know you think you're just another flame in an uncontainable inferno. What is a vote to a burning democracy? And I think I just saw a rapture coming. And I know you think Obama just be another God that has forsaken us. Just know that calling any other man a God is the true Armageddon. Just know that your refusal to vote is the true Armageddon. So vote. Because when Armageddon does come, believe me, it will look nothing like this. Thank you.
I now would like to introduce a committee person who's very dear to me, and this is Ms. Wanda Smith, and she will introduce our keynote speaker. Good afternoon. Well, while we are waiting, I could discuss Michelle, or I could read my poem from the beginning of the book. Welcome to Neptune's Black History. As we look to the curtain, this is the beauty of the program. We're here to celebrate no matter what. Things may happen, but we still press on. If you look behind me, you'll see these beautiful dancers, the future of America. You look behind them, you'll see more of our future. She reminds me of Nina Simone's song, "To be young, gifted, and black." That's where it's at. Let's talk about where it began. It began right here in Neptune. I remember Michelle when she was a little girl. She would always emulate her mother. Anything her mother did, she would do as well. That's why she's a member of Delta Sigma Theta. Had to put that in there. So if you look in the book, you will see that Michelle has gotten many awards, many accolades. And there were so many, I just didn't know which ones to choose. So I said, let me follow her around a little bit and see what else I can attain from her. I realized that even though she is a general manager at TV1, which is 178 on some of our cable networks, so it's here for TV1. And also, as of last year, Clio TV, am I correct on that? She is still the young lady who has time to speak to others. She does not put on airs. She has her friends from her youth, and they are still her friends. They get together, they don't miss a beat. This is the kind of leader you want. To me, she is a light that shines a path for others to follow. Raise your children to be proud individuals. Raise your children to work hard. Raise your children to respect others. Raise your children, and hopefully one day they can open doors like Michelle Williams Rice. And let's also give a round of applause to her mother and father who are here. Both of you are here as well. So we are going to next, before we hear from Michelle, we're going to see our dancers. Enjoy the show. Please don't forget to turn off your telephones.
Can you hear my footsteps on my journey now? Can anybody see me here? I kept my word, I led the way. Those in my care stayed on the straight and narrow. This change I fear sometimes, too much to bear. Can you feel my footsteps on my journey now? Can you hear my footsteps on my journey now? Breathe into my eyes, into my blood, to skin and bone deep in the marrow. Oh, the thread of life I believe, each memory more precious than the last.
Can we please give a round to that dance group? They were amazing. So I got a small honorarium for being here today just to cover my travel, and I'd actually like to give it back and donate it to that dance team. In my dreams and visions, I seem to see a line. And on the other side of that line were green fields and lovely flowers and beautiful white ladies who stretched out their arms to me over that line. But I couldn't reach them no how. I always fell before I got to the line. I first heard these words of Harriet Tubman, quoted by actress Viola Davis in her 2015 acceptance speech, given after she won the Golden Globe Award for Best Lead Actress in a television series, becoming the first woman bestowed that honor. Viola Davis punctuated the end of her speech by saying that the only thing that separates Black people from anyone else is opportunity. 2 years ago, I wrote a Black History Month poem that I called For Harriet, that conveys my pride about my African American heritage. It also pays homage to the woman who inspires me, Harriet Tubman, the fierce abolitionist who helped enslaved Blacks escape to freedom via the Underground Railroad. A network of people, both Black and white, offering shelter to aid escaped slaves from the South to refuge to freedom in free states. Once they crossed the line to freedom, they still had to contend with being strangers in a strange land. Throughout my life, I've come to understand exactly what that means. And I've also felt sometimes that I was a stranger in a strange land, as I know many of you have also. So before I get into my keynote speech, please allow me to share just a few lines of my poem for Harriet. Let me tell you who I am. I am the fruit of the indigenous African bush tree, cut down at the root by strange men from a foreign land, bleeding a sweet nectar until rotten and dried up by the sun. Its nectar pumps through my veins, but you did not pluck me out from my roots, from fertile land, from the motherland. So I will never be separated from her. Her roots still run deep inside of me. She is alive in me and will sprout up and rise again. She is the resiliency in my DNA, my race, my heritage, my roots. I am the fruit of my African people, my motherland, birthed from the same deeply rooted tree. We are one and the same. Let me tell you who I am. I survived the putrid belly of Middle Passage ships. I bore the whip and the lash of Mississippi cotton fields. I bowed my head and averted my eyes to avoid nooses of men in white hoods who burned crosses in the Jim Crow South. I was pummeled with rocks, kicked in my back, punched, and screamed vile and obscene words, spit upon by children, men and women at least twice my age, just because I wanted to go to a better school in Little Rock, Arkansas. I ran from the dogs and was hosed down until I collapsed on the hot asphalt streets of Birmingham, in places where I first cried, no justice, no peace, not for Emmett Till, not for Reese Taylor, or Medgar Evers, or those 4 little girls, and Martin Luther King Jr. I triumphed over the ill-fated plans of men who first cut me down from the root and put me in shackles and brought me here. I am the one who will never know my tribe, my native tongue, my true name. I am the one who fights for freedom from political, social, and economic oppressive systems and institutions that keep my people in bondage. You thought you broke us, but you woke us. So before I start, I have to ask you a quick favor. Can you all help me wish my father, who's here with me today, happy birthday? Say happy birthday, Warren. Thank you. So I'm really excited to be here with you today. First, let me give honor to God, from whom all blessings flow. I have had the opportunity to speak in a lot of places, but this one is very special to me because it's home. I have to tell you that this last year has been full of full circle moments for me. Moments that have reminded me who I am, what I'm made from, and how far I've come. In August, I had the opportunity to travel to the shores of West Africa for the year of the return. I went to the slave dungeons on Cape Coast, Ghana, and I put my feet in the same waters where 300 years before, on that very day that I was there, the African slave trade commenced with my African ancestors being taken from their birthplace, sold into slavery, and brought across the Middle Passage as human chattel to many foreign lands, never again to return home. How grateful I am that their blood runs through my veins because of the strength that flows in me through their DNA. I have returned home of my free will to those same shores where they had been kidnapped, branded with the mark of a slave trader, shackled, beaten, castrated, raped, and marked out of a door of no return from the dungeons of Cape Coast Castle to slave ships. This journey back home was probably the most powerful and profound full circle moment of my life. I stand before you today as the wildest dream of my ancestors. Today is also a full circle moment for me, and I don't take my presence here lightly. I am grateful to be with you all, many of my friends, my Neptune High School classmates, my mom, my dad, my son, and my parents' tribe of friends who have known me since I was a little girl. There are some people in here who probably know a lot of my secrets. And that tribe probably snatched me up and got me together a couple of times or two, because I grew up when people were in your parents' tribe, they might beat you behind if they saw you out acting a fool somewhere. Everybody knew everyone, and we took care of each other. So my heart is very full today to come home to my roots, the place of my birth, Neptune, New Jersey. And thank you for allowing me to honor you to speak at this Black History Month program. Gloria Steinem said, without leaps of imagination or dreaming, we lose the excitement and possibilities. Dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. Dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. People often ask me my path to success. I can tell you it took a good dose of imagination and dreaming. To be a game changer, you have to be a dreamer. Just like Harriet Tubman, Oprah Winfrey, President Barack Obama, or Martin Luther King Jr., who said these words in his iconic I Have a Dream speech. 4 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. He went on to say later in that iconic speech, "But I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today." The Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1863. So now 157 years later, we must still remain in pursuit of the dream. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a dreamer. I turn my dreams into goals, I achieve those goals, and then I dream bigger. I grew up in a then predominantly white neighborhood in Neptune called the Gables in the 70s. Growing up there, I had to be a dreamer. But before my story begins, a story of another dreamer had to unfold. In June, August, and October of 1959, Ermon Jones and his wife Blanche Jones, who was my first grade teacher at Gables Elementary School, visited the Asbury Gables development, a new planned community where they dreamed of purchasing a lot and building a single-family home. Although they met the loan qualifications, they were denied a contract of sale from the developer. Upon investigation, it was revealed that the developer, Harold Strauss, said to an investigator from the Division on Civil Rights, "No law or no one is going to force me to sell a Negro a house in this development. Now, if this man wants to buy a house in this development, he cannot, but he can find a plot elsewhere and I will build a home for him. Before I sell to a Negro in this development, the Gables, I will close up the development." 3 years later, in 1962, Ermon Jones filed a housing discrimination case in the New Jersey State Supreme Court. The case, Jones versus Herodor Realty Corporation, that was the name of the case, and Mr. Jones won. He won the case and the right to purchase and build their home in this all-white neighborhood. That day, he did not only win something for himself, he won a fundamental right for all people to be treated equitably and fairly. 5 years later, in 1967, Warren and Bertha Williams, my parents, bought a home in the Gables community, becoming the 6th family to join the Jones family in this community. It took courage for the Jones family to pursue justice and win, as well as my parents and other Black families who moved into this neighborhood planned for whites only. They knew that they were not wanted there simply because of the color of their skin. But the dreams that you have for yourself, and especially the dreams that you have for your children, are a powerful motivator. The fruition of your dreams may be the antidote that cures the poisons of hate, racism, and discrimination, and anything else that attempts to derail the advancement of our humanity and the achievement of your destiny. Dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. I remember being the only little brown girl on my block. I lived at 104 Marlowe Place in Neptune, New Jersey. The little white girls marveled at my kinky afro puffs and my brown skin. After some time just staring at me from across the fence, their parents allowed us to play. Not seeing other girls who looked like me was hard growing up. I also did not see myself in most of the images that surrounded me, not in my Barbie dolls, not on the cover of teen magazines, and definitely not on television. One saving grace was looking at the beautiful and successful Black people featured in the pages of my mother's Ebony and Jet magazines. I also saw their fabulous friends who were in Black fraternities and sororities and other civic and community organizations. Thank God for those images, because it was enough to inspire me. But as a little girl, it was still difficult for me to embrace the physical characteristics and features that set me apart from other little girls. I was very aware of the ethnic and racial qualities that made me different. Fortunately, I grew up to understand that different did not mean less than. The qualities of my Blackness made me remarkable, unique, and even beautiful. I thank my mom and dad because they never allowed me to shrink or to be small. What I didn't see in magazines or on television or in my neighborhood, I saw in my home. My mother and my father and my grandparents knew how to nurture our minds and embolden our hopes and our dreams by exposing us to diverse experiences, diverse people, and to our history. Not only did my brother Jeffrey and I dare to dream, we believed in our dreams. Dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. Growing up, my curiosity about the world and my longing to see images that look like me fueled my desire to pursue a career in the media. In high school, this high school, I wrote for the school newspaper and started to really sink into the idea of a journalism career. Not only did I love writing and literature, when I found out that a journalism major only required me to take 2 math electives, I knew I had found my career, because I really didn't like math. After graduation, I attended Temple University, where I received a degree in journalism after an internship at WPBI in Philadelphia, and a heart-to-heart conversation with a young Black journalist who was mentoring me at the station. He told me, "I wish I could tell you it gets better, but it won't. The people in the newsroom really are certifiably crazy." So I looked around and I asked him, "Well, what is the guy in that big office in the back who goes out to lunch, he drives a nice car, he looks really happy, what does he do?" And he said, "He's the general sales manager." And I said, "Well, I'm gonna do that." I decided right then and there that my place was behind the camera, with the same people who had more time and money to do lunch with clients. Someone once asked me in an interview, "But you were seeking a white man's job. What made you think that you could do that?" I said, "Because I saw it. No one told me that I couldn't do it. In fact, my parents had always told me that I could do anything. So why not me? Why not me?" I say to the young people today. Whatever you see, why not me? After graduation, I received my master's degree at University of Southern California in communication management, and 2 years after being there, I graduated and I got my first break when I landed a job at Black Entertainment Television in Washington, D.C. Then I moved back to the New York area to work for NBC in the cable TV group, doing sales for CNBC and MSNBC. In 2003, my family relocated to Maryland, right at the time where Comcast and Radio One were partnering to launch TV One. I'd read an article in the Washington Post about the new television venture and set my sights on working there since I was relocating to DC. As luck would have it, a few weeks later, I was attending a dinner where the first CEO of TV One, Jonathan Rogers, would be, and I walked right up to him and I said, "I'm Michelle Rice, you should hire me." And I told him all the reasons why. And the rest is history. I got an interview and I got a job in about a month later. A closed mouth never gets fed, that's what my grandmother used to say. About 3 years ago, I went to my boss and said, "We need to launch a new network focused on women of color." He told me to write a business plan and to talk to our cable partners, and if you can get them to agree to distribute your network, then let's do it. Last year, I had the pleasure of launching a new network, Cleo TV, my brainchild. Cleo is short for Cleopatra, because women are fierce and we are queens, just like Cleopatra. The launch of Cleo TV was the culmination of my hard work and all those years of dreaming and longing to see myself portrayed positively on TV. I've created a quality lifestyle and entertainment network that showcases the diverse lives and experiences of women of color, especially millennial and younger Gen X women. I hope this network, through its positive portrayals of women, will inform and inspire young women and change any persistent negative stereotypes and perceptions about women of color. You see, sometimes in order to change, for change to happen, you have to be the change that you want to see. Because of what the Jones family did in 1962, other Black families, including mine, reaped the benefit of their dream. So I celebrate them and their contribution to this community because their story is a part of Neptune Township Black history and my history. Today, I also want to join you in celebrating the fearless women and men who have come before me and chartered a path for me to walk in through their footsteps in the field of journalism. I know you are honoring some very special people, Constance Holmes, Bob Farley, and Evelyn Woods. To each of them, I say thank you and congratulations for being Black history makers. There are many names of people like Oprah Winfrey, Soledad O'Brien, Angela Rye, Don Lemon, but before them, there was John H. Johnson, the founder of Ebony magazine, Simeon Booker, the pioneering journalist who during the Civil Rights Movement shined a light on the oppression and injustice of Black people and covered the murder and trial of Emmett Till. And two of my journalistic idols, Ida B. Wells, who was an investigative journalist, and she used her pen to shine a light on lynching in the South and fought for equality for women, especially Black women. And one of my mentors, Kathy Hughes, who founded Radio One 40 years ago, the parent company of TV One and Clio TV, and grew this company into the largest African-American owned media company in the world. That's history. These men and women had dreams, and they were fearless in pursuit of them. And in most instances, they were probably the first. What I want to say to the young people in this room is what I would say to my younger self. Be fearless in pursuit of your dreams, and don't be afraid to fail. If you fail, fail fast, but not often. At least you try. Try again, correct, and try again. Don't be afraid to be the first, and don't be afraid to be the only. So many times I've had been the first woman, or the only woman of color, or the only Black person, or the first Black person to achieve something. Keep being fearless. Your fearlessness will ensure that you will certainly not be the last. Being fearless doesn't mean that we pursue our dreams or we move forward into the corridors of darkness without fear. Sometimes we do, but more often than not, being fearless means that we do it in the midst of fear, uncertainty, risk, and adversity. More often than not, being fearless has meant that I do it afraid. There were many rooms where I was not wanted, and many meetings where I was excluded, and I had to fight my way in. Like Shirley Chisholm said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. There are so many daring leaps that I've had to take to get to this moment in my life and in my career, and have done so without a safety net. I'm sure my parents were a little concerned about this television thing, because I've had my share of hard times where I didn't know whether I could pay my bills. And I didn't always make the responsible choice, designer shoes for an event, or pay the light bill, or buy groceries. Well, I'll get the shoes, I'll eat cup of noodles, and have plenty of candles. Who needs lights anyway? It probably took at least 20 years into my career for them to actually even be able to explain what I did for a living. My dad probably would say something like, I don't know what she does, something in cable TV, all I know is she can pay a light bill. I think they finally felt comfortable that I have a pretty good job now and I may not need something else to fall back on. I embarked on a career in television because I wanted to be seen, I wanted my voice to be heard, I wanted the voice of my people to be heard. I also wanted to change the things that I saw, as well as the things that I didn't see on television. It is hard, but not impossible, to be what you cannot see. I am proud and honored to lead TV One and Clio TV, where we are sparking the fire of hope and dreams through amplifying new voices, telling stories, begging to be told, and empowering the underrepresented. I am so glad that you see me important enough to share my story with you today. And it is my hope that through me, you see yourself beautiful, strong, and powerful, and fearless, and capable of making all your dreams come true. Because dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. And I am a living witness that little girls with dreams can grow up to be women with vision. Thank you.
Well, Michelle is a hard act to follow, but I'm going to do my best. Esteemed guests, legislators, local officials, honorees, and scholars. I am Maureen Schaefer, a proud member of the Neptune Black History Month Committee and producer of the Neptune Senior Griots documentary. Today, our senior griots this year are Constance Connie Holmes, Robert Bob Farley, and Evelyn Payne. I had the joy and the distinct pleasure of meeting these three amazing senior griots during our video interviews and hearing their stories throughout the production process of this video. Connie Holmes, your courage in the face of adversity and passion for lifelong learning impressed me most. You were one of three to integrate Western Kentucky University the second year it admitted Black students in 1957. You went on to become a staunch advocate for affordable housing and labor rights. Bob Farley, your drive to find and follow your passion was infectious. You kept going and you kept growing. You went on to become a prolific radio and event producer. Evelyn Payne, your love for family and community struck me most of all. You grew up in a large, loving, tight-knit family and found great and enduring love. You went on to champion community school relations at the state level. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce the premiere sneak peek of the third annual Senior Griots documentary. So thank you very much to Connie Holmes, to Bob Farley, and to Evelyn Payne. And I would like to invite the three of you up to the stage now. So please join us with Eric Hotelling to receive a proclamation. And I would also like to invite our keynote speaker, Michelle Rice, up to the stage as well at this time. And Robert Lane, our mayor as well. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? What a great event. And I think if anybody knows me, Eric will telling I'm a pretty big fan of what goes on in Neptune Township, and I've been here a long time. I'm a 1972 graduate of this high school, but it's certainly a different high school now than it was then, but so much better now. But I have a lot of wonderful memories, and when I graduated high school in 1972, it wasn't the best of times, and it was a struggle. Some of the struggles that Michelle talked about. I'm a resident of the Gables, and I moved in there in the 80s. You know, Neptune has a lot of history, but you know, we're still here. We're still fighting for equality, and we're going to continue to do that. And I want to thank Diana Harris for putting this together, this event, and bringing everybody together, and to understand that there is a struggle here that's going on. But you know, I think we're winning. We're going to continue to fight. And our honorees that we have chosen are, you know, very, very special people, and they understand that you know, life sometimes isn't always meant to be easy, but you know, we want to get it fair. We want to give everybody equal opportunity to be successful, and we're always working towards that. We're getting better. We're not there yet, I don't think, but we're getting better, and we're going to continue to work at it. So I'm honored to be here again, and Diana, I want to say thank you for starting the program on time. That's awesome. So I'd like to bring the mayor, Rob Lane, up and say a few words as well.
Thank you, Assemblyman. I said twice before, the best thing I did was marry a Neptune graduate. That's why I'm here today. But it is truly an honor as the mayor of Neptune to honor such great people and for all the works they've done in the medias. In my article I wrote, I graduated, would you say, in the 80s. And I didn't have all this platforms to look at all this wonderful work you guys done then, but now I did when I read it's amazing how you just look up all the history and all the things that they've done so far, but we're not done yet. There's, like Eric Hotelling said, there's things out there we still got to take care of, and we don't stop, keep fighting for the Afro-Americans and everyone else to show that, you know, all we can do in the United States. And I want to thank you. This is a great day to honor these people today. Thank you very much.
I don't know all the honorees, but one I do know, and I just wanted to single her out for a minute. I don't want to embarrass her, but Connie Holmes has been a friend of mine for a long time. And when I was the mayor here in 2013, and we had a lot of redevelopment going on here, the town had to step in and institute rent control. And who do we lean on to be part of that committee was Connie Holmes. And she's still on that committee fighting. You're doing a wonderful job. And not only that, the community that she lives in, Winding Ridge, she fought very hard for rent control, and also for affordable housing over there, which we got. And she's the president of that association, so she's a fighter. And I'm sure see everybody up here has fought, and you're inspirational to me, and you always have been. And she's been such a wonderful campaign worker. We're talking about voting. I mean, Connie comes all the time on our campaign and helps us to get elected. And she's a very hard worker, and she supports good values. And you know what? We need more of you, Connie, and I hope that your word will get out there and spread about what you have done with your life. And everybody that's up here, we're very honored to be able to make this presentation to you.
Great, we'd like to honor Michelle Rice for being our keynote speaker today and for her accomplishments.
It's my pleasure to be up here today to honor you. As I said, a Neptune graduate, it's always great not only that we have people that are fighting on every frontier in the media, but to have one of our own graduates doing so. For my wife, I won't tell what year she graduated yet, she won't like that. But she's a graduate of Neptune. I just want to thank you so much for the work you've been doing so far, and we're looking for so much more ahead from you. And this is a proclamation on behalf of the Neptune Township as the mayor and the rest of the committee, which I want to announce. Committeeman Michael Brantley, Committeeman Kevin McMillan, who's in the audience, Cal Rizzo, and Nicholas Williams. So on behalf of the committee, I want to present this little proclamation of all the special work you've done so far. I want to say thank you.
We also have a proclamation from the state of New Jersey from Senator Vingo Powell, Assemblywoman Joanne Downey, and myself, from one Neptune High School graduate to another. We're very honored and proud to present this to you.
We'd like to present a special proclamation to Evelyn Payne.
When I read your bio, all you guys said, you can't walk past someone and not help them. I love all what you've done to your community. As a church believer, I want to thank you. It's such a great thing that you do, that in the Christian community, just never turn a blind eye to anyone. I want to thank you for all your wonderful work. I think it's a godsend. I want to thank you so much on behalf as the mayor and the committee to present this to you today for all your work.
And Evelyn, again, we have a proclamation from the state of New Jersey for you, and we appreciate all that you have done.
Now I'd like to honor Robert Farley for his contributions.
It's my pleasure to give this proclamation of when I read your bio. I think it said the School of Hard Knocks. That sums up sometimes when you go to the School of Hard Knocks. I just want to thank you for all your work in the radio, the media like that. I do travel a lot, so I love that. I have Sirius now. I hate commercials, but I love the radios. I always listen to the Christian channels as well, and I love that you're still doing that today. So I want to thank you for all your work in the media. On behalf of the committee and the mayor, I want to present this to you today.
I just want to know, did anybody lose a roll of money with a rubber band around it? Well, I found the rubber band.
And again, on the behalf of the New Jersey State Assembly, we have a proclamation for you as well. And I'm still attending that School of Hard Knocks, so I'm glad you were able to graduate.
What can I say about Connie? She's a godly, feisty woman that you want her on your back when you need anything done. Right? Do I hear amen for that? Right? Yeah. Come on, give it up. I know Connie for a while now. I attend the meetings that she has. She's the president of that. And with her hard work, we're going to keep it the way it is there, and maybe even look for more in other areas. But I want to thank you, Connie. It's always been a pleasure to know you and everything you've done. I want to present this plaque, a proclamation on behalf of the mayor and the rest of the committee for you, for all your wonderful things. And I know you're not done yet. I'm sure you want to say a few words, don't you? Right? Yeah. I know you would. There you go.
I just want to thank Diana for her hard work, and I'm glad she called me and we talked and everything. You're doing a wonderful job, Diana. The other thing I want to say is there's an election going on today. The fire commissioner election from 2 to 9. So when you leave here, you've got time to go and vote. All right. Your vote is important. We got men, and per year, they're running for the fire commissioner. So please go out and cast your vote from 2 to 9 o'clock tonight. You got plenty of time when you leave here, okay? Okay.
And again, we have that proclamation from the state, and Connie, you know how we feel about it, so congratulations, and we wish you continued success.
I just want y'all to know Eric is my best friend. My best friend. He helped us to get rent control. So I love it. We all love it at Winding Ridge. All right?
I would just like to take this moment to say thank you first to the one who created me, our Father in heaven. And I would like to thank this committee who thought it well that they might acknowledge some of the things that I've done. My work in the community, my work in my local churches and the state churches. I'm grateful to God because He allowed it to be so. And I want you to know that my family's here, and I thank them also for their continued support always. Thank you, committee. May God continue to bless us all.
Good afternoon. I'd just like to thank God for giving me the, whatever it is it took for me to move. I'd like to thank my family out here. I think they're out here. But I'd just like to encourage all the people, as I do on the radio broadcast every Sunday morning from 8 to 11. But you know, you can't get down on yourself. The unknown might have put it this way. If you think that you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win or think you can, well, then say that you won't. If you think you'll lose, you've lost. For out of the world we find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think that you are outclassed, you are. You've got to think high and rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win the prize. So think big and your deeds will grow. Think small and you'll fall behind. Think you can and you will. It's all in the state of mind. Life's battles don't always go to the strong or faster man. But sooner or later the one who wins is the one who thinks that he can. God bless you. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
Go down there. Come down. Can we turn the spotlight down, please? Thank you. And may I have all members of Delta Sigma Theta stand up, please? We have Phil and Mary Clark. And on behalf of Mount College Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated, we'd like to give you this small token of our love. And thank you for representing, thank you for being who you are, undeniably wonderful and strong, and may you continue to dream on. We love you.
Good afternoon. I am Lyda Lakins, lead pastor of Triumph Line Church, and I'll be continuing the rest of the program for you to move it along and to enjoy ourselves together. I do want to thank Michelle as well. 21 years ago, when my wife and I got married, I didn't know the history or the size. When I was 26 years old, buying my first house in the Gables, you plugged all that together in one moment. Buying my first house, that was like, oh my God. We just bought a house thinking it was all right, but thank you so much for all that you said and for everyone that's come forward. Now we have some great individuals that's going to come help us celebrate during this month, and not just this month, but this year. And I want to encourage you as they come and present that you give them a thundering round of applause. And so we have an oral presentation titled The Truth by our Summerfield Elementary School students as they come.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is truly an honor for my students and I to be with you here today for our 17th annual Black History Month celebration. And our Summerfield students right here will be sharing with you an oral presentation on the many great contributions and truths of African American women in journalism. I'd like to introduce our fantastic students. We have Miss Stella Curto, Miss Charlotte Donaway, Miss Kira Schutz, Miss Layla Jones, and Miss Allie Agee. To steal a line from our fantastic keynote speaker, Miss Michelle Rice, girls with dreams and women of vision. We hope that today, as you listen to our oral presentation, that you'll walk away today with learning more and seeking and speaking truth. So when you hear that word truth, I want you to shout it loud and proud right after them. So let's practice. Truth! 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 Welcome to the stage, Miss Stella Curto.
Good afternoon. I'm Stella Curto, and my friends and I are here to present Famous African American Woman in Journalism. These are some significant African American women who tell the truth through their hard work as activists and journalists. Thank you. Truth. Lee Thornton. Lee Thornton told the truth as an award-winning journalist, news producer, and educator. Lee Thornton accomplished many firsts in her journalism career. She was the first African-American woman to cover the White House for a major TV network. She was the first Black weekend host of a national public radio show, All Considered. and Thornton was the first woman dean of Merrill College School of Journalism and the second African American. Thornton spent much of her career teaching the next generation of broadcast journalists as a professor at Howard University and the University of Maryland. She created, wrote, produced, and hosted the show Front and Center. After retiring, Thornton returned to the University of Maryland. She served as an interim associate provost for equity and diversity and is named the university's Woman of the Year. Truth.
Truth. Josephine Ruffin. Josephine Ruffin told the truth as an activist, philanthropist, and newspaper publisher. Josephine Ruffin was born in 1842 in Massachusetts. Throughout her life, she worked to help fight discrimination. Ruffin once said, "If laws are unjust, they must continually be broken until they are altered." During the Civil War, Ruffin was an activist against slavery, and she recruited black soldiers to the Union Army. After the war, she organized the Kansas Relief Association, which collected supplies to help blacks moving from Kansas to the South. In 1869, Ruffin began writing for the black newspaper, The Current, and became a member of the New England Women's Press Association. Ruffin then became the acting editor and publisher of Woman's Era, the first newspaper published by and for African American women. Ruffin was active in many social causes for women, including suffrage. In 1894, she organized the Women's Era Club, a community club for African American women. She was also one of the founding members of the Boston NAACP in 1910. In 1995, Josephine Ruffin was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame. Truth. Truth.
Adori Udoji. Adori Udoji tells the truth as a media producer, innovator, and investor. Adori Udoji is a journalist, businesswoman, lawyer, and producer. As a reporter for ABC, she reported on everything including criminal trials, presidential elections, Hurricane Katrina, and sporting events. Udoji moved to London and reported on stories from Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. She was recognized in 2002 by the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences for coverage of the Afghan War. Udoji has worked for CNN, NPR, and Court TV. Udoji produces short films and documentaries. She has won many awards and was named one of the 25 most influent African Americans. Today, Udoji help bring diversity into tech media by contributing to organizations for women and entrepreneurs. Truth. Truth. Cynthia Tucker. Cynthia Tucker tells truth through her Pulitzer Prize-winning commentary. Growing up in Alabama, Cynthia Tucker attended integrated schools until she was 17. The experiences with segregation influenced Tucker's views as a writer. Tucker began her newspaper career as a student at Auburn University, where she wrote for the student newspaper. In 1976, Tucker began working as a reporter for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. She became a columnist for the paper, and eventually Tucker became the first African American to hold the title of editorial page editor. Her columns were syndicated to over 40 U.S. newspapers. Those columns earned her nominations for the Pulitzer Prize for commentary. In 2006, she was named Journalist of the Year by the National Association of Black Journalists. Tucker won the Pulitzer for commentary in 2007. Today, Tucker teaches at the University of Georgia, writes a syndicated column, and appears as a commentator on television and radio news programs. Truth.
Truth. Pauline Hopkins. Pauline Hopkins told the truth as a novelist, journalist, and playwright. Pauline Hopkins was born in 1859 to free parents and grew up in Boston. Her talent for writing was first noticed when she won an essay competition at the age of 15. At 16, Pauline Hopkins began acting in plays. She began to travel the country with her family's musical troupe, the Hopkins Colored Troubadours, performing musical dramas. At the age of 21, Hopkins wrote her first original play, Slaves Escape. From 1900 to 1904, Hopkins served as the editor-in-chief for Colored American Magazine. She wrote biographies of famous African-American men and women for the magazine. Hopkins is best known for her romance novels, which addressed and challenged social and racial issues of middle-class blacks. Pauline Hopkins has been characterized as one of the most prolific African-American woman writer and the most influential literary editor of the first decade of the 20th century. Truth. T-R-U-T-H.
Truth. Oh man, we got to continue to tell the truth and to share the story of our experience, our black experience, so our children will understand and know it. As we continue on in our program, we have the Midtown Community Elementary School coming to have a dance performance for us entitled Stand Up. Sit down on that. You need to stand up and give a roar. We also want to thank Ms. Mohan for putting it all together. We give her a round of applause as well. That is a lot. They did an amazing job. As we continue on, our Neptune High School African Student Union students, Masai Ramsey and Zora Slay, are coming with original poems.
Hi, my name is Zora Slay. I'm a senior here at Neptune High School, and I'm a part of Miss Lyons ASU. That stands for African Student Union. And today I'll be presenting To Be Black in America. To be black in America is to be told in all ways you don't matter. It is to be angry and afraid. It is to watch people switch to the other side of the street to avoid you. It is to be told to get over slavery because it was so long ago, when in reality it only ended about 200 years ago. It is to be told that I'm not racist. I have black friends. It is to be told the definition of racism every day, like you don't understand it. It is to be told, hey, what about reverse racism? It is to have a white terrorist group dedicated to your elimination. It is to be more worried about the threats in your own country on top of those abroad. It is to wonder about the daily safety of your family. It is to be called sensitive when you speak out against the hate. It is to be branded as lazy as soon as you stop working for free. It is to walk past people and watch them clutch their purse. It is to have people fear you when you feel more threatened than they'll ever feel. It is to be told white privilege doesn't exist. It is to be told you are equal. It's up, in the courtroom, in the eyes of the law, the job market, the housing market, and in the classroom. It is to live in a world where 1 in 3 black men are incarcerated. And it is to know that their sentences are longer than their white counterparts. It is to know that they use prison labor to extort them, a modern day twist on slavery. It is to know that the police are a relief for some and a nightmare for others. It is to know that you can do everything right and still get killed by someone sworn to protect you. It is to know that you will be blamed for your death in spite of this. It is to hear about black on black crime, even though every race commits crime against their own kind the most. It is to have family who have seen the bloodiness of the civil rights movement. It is to be taught in school how great this country is while ignoring the evil it's done. It is to wake up every 2 weeks to a new hashtag about another slain black or brown body. It is to be villainized by the media. It is to see the flag that everyone holds near and dear and remember all the pain it caused you, even though your ancestors built this country off their backs. It is to be told to go back to Africa as if we aren't standing on stolen land. It is to be told, I don't see color. It is to have your culture stolen. It is to have your value placed on music, style, hairstyles, but not your skin. It is to hear, what would it is to hear, what would MLK think about these protests? It is to remember that people celebrated his assassination. But to be Black in America is so much more than that. To be Black in America is to be beautiful, resilient, full of melanin, and so much more. Thank you.
My name is Masai Rimi, and I'm also a part of Miss Science African Student Union. And I'm going to be reading a poem today called Truth. It might sound a little bit like a letter though. So it goes like this. Dear Truth, I didn't know if I wanted to speak to you today. I know that this is going to cause you some dismay, but it's something that needs to be said. It's not something that just can be read. I've always been known to offend, but I'm going to say what I have to say because I can. Why when they speak, they want us to be silent, but when we speak, they call us violent? Well, they're going to hear me today. They kill me when they say all lives matter, because is it really all lives being gunned down in the streets of this country that was built on our backs? They might say that my anger is unjustified, but my anger doesn't come from the pain of our past. It comes from the question of how long does this last? Fear for generations to come, my Black brothers and sisters becoming another hashtag on social media with no justice behind their names. So yes, I'm angry. Yes, I stand here as both salvation and wrath.
As we continue to honor Black History Month, our Neptune High School a cappella chorus and dance team comes. Even as we prepare to recognize our Neptune honorees, let me once again encourage you to go vote 2 to 9 at the municipal building, the Township Municipal Building. Please, we cannot emphasize it enough. As Diane Harris has already said, this is a very important time. Someone was talking to me just before this and said, you know, I don't like any of these candidates, and so I may not vote. I said, no, I don't care what you do. If you don't like someone, you need to find out one good trait about somebody and vote. Do not vote in this season because you don't like a candidate. We have to find one intrinsic value that lines up with who we are so we can still vote. Y'all with me? All right. So once again, please, to the Township building, municipal building, 2 to 9. Let's go and vote today. All right, as we come to the recognition of our awards for our Neptune honorees, as they're coming now.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are now going to have a quick slide to honor some other heads of journalism from our Neptune Township. Two are in the house today, with Shanta Jackson and Aisha Boyd. Please come on stage. Unfortunately, we're not able to have Pat Battle, Lorraine Stone, Chanel, and Kevin Hoban here with us, but they're here in heart, and we will be passing on their certificates of recognition to them. The first one, Pat Battle. Pat Battle is a Neptune graduate. She's a co-anchor of NBC4 The Weekend Today. She's a 2013 Community Outreach Hero Award winner. She's also a 2011 survivor of the Susan G. Komen for the Cure, Call for the Cure. That's breast cancer awareness recognition and survivor. Our next person is Miss Shanta Jackson, who is here with us. Miss Jackson is a journalist. She's also a communications coordinator from the Asbury Park School System. She's a 2019 Reaching Higher Heights Award winner. She's a member of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. She's Neptune High School Hall of Fame 2002, and she's also on the Neptune Board of Education.
I'd like to present this award to Ms. Shanta Jackson for her intestinal fortitude in speaking truth to power. Let's give her a hand.
And also on the behalf of the New Jersey State Assembly, we would like to honor the recipients here. And Shanta, we have this for you from Senator Bingo Powell, Assemblywoman Downey, and myself, Eric Potsdam. So congratulations.
Okay, our next person is Alicia Williams-Boyd. She's also a journalist. She's here on the stage. She's the Senior Digital Director of USA Today Network. She's also a National Association of Black Journalists member 2012, recognition there, and 2018 Girl Scouts of the Jersey Shore Women of Distinction. And I must say, I met her when she was doing journalism at the Asbury Park Press. Way back, she's one of those that did the first articles on our Neptune Black History events 17 years ago, I believe. We've done this a long time. Okay, Ms. Boyd.
Thank you very much, Alicia. I had the pleasure to be interviewed by Alicia. I saw that article in Ocean Grove Times. That's a long time ago. But in any event, this goes to Alicia for your stellar work in the field of journalism. Let's give her a hand.
Again, the state of New Jersey is honored to represent or express what you have done in your career. We want to congratulate you for that.
Once again, let's give these ladies a super large standing ovation, round of applause, because even though it is the year 2020, we're just getting to have integration and recognition of our Black and brown people in titles and many professions. Thank you. One more.
Jackson. On behalf of Monmouth County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, we want to give you this small token that we love you. Right, sorors? Right.
All right, thank you all.
As we continue to honor those who are here with us on today, we want to have Phi Beta Sigma fraternity on our essay contest winner, Vivian Howard. Deputy Mayor Miller.
We're also going to ask if any members of Zeta Phi Beta are here. You can join us on the stage as well, our sister sorority. Thank you.
Essay contest winners come up. I think we only have 2 of them with us today, but we'll announce all 4.
Thank you for your patience. We'd like to thank all the students who sent in essays, and we'd like to encourage you and thank also the teachers who promoted that their students participated. This year, our essay topic was on how social media influences voting. And the students did some very good essays. We had 3 students who won from the middle school. We're very proud, and 1 student from the high school. Some of the points that they made were that positive means for social media and voting were that this is a fast way for candidates to reach and inform target audiences. It's a way for supporters to interact, organize, and share information among themselves. It's especially important for reaching younger voters. Candidates can receive feedback directly from their voters, and it's a less expensive way to promote your messaging, and it's a vehicle for fundraising. They said the negative parts of social media was that it's an easy way to spread misinformation and fake news, and they encourage that voters need to check the accuracy of any information rather than just accept anything on social media as fact. So we had 4 winners today. I'm going to list them all and then we'll present to the 2 who are here today. First place went to Hannah Terrell, who is a middle school graduate. Second place went to Hadira Phillips, who is also a middle school graduate. Third place went to Sanaya Hughes, and she's a Neptune High School, not graduate, they're in school, I'm sorry. They attend Neptune High School. And Emily Flemings, who is the 4th presenter, she receives 4th place, and she's also at Neptune Middle High School, and middle school, I'm sorry. And I wanted to just mention that she also won last year, so we really appreciate that she always participates. So now we have...
Thank you very much, Karen. These students embody what our fraternity is about: culture for service, service for humanity, and our fraternity and our sororities continue to be vigilant in the pursuit of education. Our first scholarship winner would be Hannah Terrell. Let's give her a hand. I was asking if she wanted to give a speech, but it's not. Our second will be Emily Fleming. Let's give her a hand.
Just a few words from what we heard today. Dream big, because it is a part of planning. And if you think you can, you can. Congratulations. Thank you so much for those who are remaining with us. We want to encourage you to stay for the last finale, because I believe the Asbury Park Technical Academy of Dance, they're always amazing and kicked us off at the beginning, and so we're going to end with that. So at this time, as we prepare for our Neptune Middle School chorus, would you give them a hand as they go? Man, aren't we glad for technology? They were here. And so we thank them for that video presentation. Next we'll have our Neptune High School Jazz Band. tonight, she didn't get an award, but we do want to honor Michelle, who runs the Asbury Park Technical Dance Academy, as they prepare to come. Let's put your hands together for her. Several years ago, my daughter's now in college now, but when she first started, before she got to gymnastics, 2 years of her life, she was a part of this Asbury Park Dance Academy. And so I thank Michelle. So for our final performance, the Asbury Park Technical Dance Academy. Would you put your hands together? As we prepare to close, I do want to encourage your children if they're not part of the Midtown program with the dance, chorus, they're welcome to join there at the Asbury Park, right there on Madison Avenue. That program, she does a phenomenal job. We do want to thank all of our honorees on today. For Michelle Rice, for your presence, thank you so much, and your family, and your father sharing his birthday with us on today. Happy birthday once again. We want to thank all of you that came out and stayed all the way to the end. On behalf of Ms. Diane Harris, the Midtown Committee, and all those who participated in putting this together, thank you, thank you, and thank you. Please continue to speak the truth. Share our story. We're not finished yet. We have to continue to tell our children. Continue. Please, you have these lovely books. Sometimes we put them in our kitchen and we just place them somewhere. There's facts, information, truths. Writing pages are there. Read them to your children. Sit down and tell the story tomorrow on Sunday around dinner time. Talk about the history that's so rich. Don't let it just be a month. Let it be all year. God bless you and have a wonderful week.